Hey, what's up, sons? I know it's late right now. I'm actually kind of be getting ready for bed here, but I just wanted to do a quick public service announcement, I suppose, and go over this really quickly. I did do some quick research on the Ice River miners that specifically the testing that Red Panda Mining has gone over, and there's some extremely concerning red flags that are coming out from this testing that you guys should be aware of. I would be very cautious surrounding the ice rivers right now. There is this kind of, we already have gone over a little bit of their, let's say their history on their registration for the domain, showing that they're a very recent registration. We've gone over that sort of thing and how those can be red flags on a lot of these websites. And then there was obviously doubt cast on whether or not these things were real. Basically, like, oh, well, they're starting to look real when they decided to send one to Red Panda Mining, who is obviously the largest crypto mining YouTuber currently out right now. And I was going through his video as well as kind of reviewing the Twitter post. And here's the thing, I know that the address he was originally mining on, he didn't end up mining on this one because he didn't want people basically messing with him. And I guess in the first one where he bricked it, people were mining to his address. But then I have a bunch of questions surrounding that because if you have, let's just say you have 2 terahash that's going to come online, it's going to outpace everything else that's currently available to mine Kaspa, right? The most powerful FPGAs are not going to get anywhere close to 2 terahash. So this weird behavior, there's a lot of concerning red flags, but let's go over the first one, which is a weird behavior of starting out at 300 gigahash and then slowly growing over time. Okay. Why is that? What is that indicative of? Where do you typically see that? You typically see that in services like NiceHash or mining rig rentals where you are renting hash rate. Okay, that's typically where you see this kind of buildup of hash rate over time. Okay, and that is concerning in and of itself. And we're going to talk about the Dynex Discord hack. Every Discord gets hacked. I don't even care anymore these days. If you're using Discord, I think you're already, I just don't think it should be used anymore. But that, we'll get into that in a second. Let's cover a little bit of this because I'm concerned that people are going through and making purchases on these, right? And here's the other red flags that are going on. Red Panda Mining put it on Hero Miners, and when he went to put it on Hero Miners, essentially the rig shut down, and then he basically had somebody putty in to some sort of Linux operating system that it runs off of, and then they went ahead and changed the mining pool back. So I don't have a way to actually see which one RPM is utilizing, and hopefully maybe I can talk with him a little bit on later on down the line. We would assume these are something around this line of thinking. I was one worker and so on, so we could look at those and start pulling them. The biggest concern here, outside of the odd behavior on warming up the rig to really get maximum hash rate, is also going to be the fact that you can only mine to 2 pools right now. Now, they've claimed that they're going to add more pools down the line. And the reasoning behind this was Stratum protocol, but a majority of these pools are utilizing the same Stratum protocol. So you're going to be like Stratum plus TCP. That's going to be across the board. So that's not really a clear answer. So that raises a red flag for me. Another one, finally, is that there is no node mining or solo mining to your own node. Well, if you're going to rent hash rate, you would need to know the public IP of the person that's running this on their own node, and that would probably expose some issues. Because the machine or the unit appears to shut down when you change the pools outside of the pools that they allow you to choose, there's some red flags there as well. And I just want to make sure that people understand that just because Red Panda Mining has gotten one, just because we have a screenshot that doesn't even show the wallet address at this point, which I understand the reasoning why to a certain extent, I guess, doesn't mean that these things are real. Just because Red Panda Mining has it, there's lots of other factors that could be in here. There could be rental going on somewhere in the background. They could be connecting other additional workers. It's really hard to tell. And I would be very cautious surrounding this, okay? I do have some questions surrounding specifically as well their ICERIVER KAS 0. This one, obviously, you can still purchase right now. And it is sitting at the 100 gigahash at 100 watts. This one's a little bit more believable. But it still could, all of this could be a quick cash grab. The other thing, right, we talked about before is the payment methods being USD, Bitcoin, Ethereum, or USDT. You have no way to like grab your money back from them. There's not a PayPal option. There's not a smart contract option for the ETH. There's none of that. So I don't want anybody to watch this, you know, and go make a $15,000, $16,000, $30,000 purchase and get screwed here. So I do want to just say, like, be extremely careful surrounding this. And hey, good to see you, RPM, in here. Thanks for the work you're doing over here. It's definitely eye-opening as far as this goes. So there's some possibilities, and maybe Red Panda can help here. And I did ask, and you're saying now, Red Panda saying in chat, we checked all the hash rate rentals, and there's no way it could lead up to 300 terahash. You mean 2 terahash, right? Or what is it? 2 terahash or whatever it is. So I just want to make sure that everybody's extremely safe when it comes to this, because it is a huge purchase. Like, this could be life savings purchasing that's going on. And then to just top that off on top of things right now, the other thing that would concern me as far as this goes is, let's say everything's completely legit. If these things do hit, and I mean, what my understanding is, it's very low, right? A low amount of these, but I would assume more would come down the line. I wouldn't base your total ROI off of it at this point. So I felt like just getting the information that you can't connect to an internal node right now, right? Which in theory, I could spin up a stratum, right? TCP, connect that to my node and connect to that. Red Panda, if you want help doing that and going through just basically like your own node, then I think that would be great. I would want to know I would want to know what ACC pool and Kaspa pool are utilizing, because remember the Stratum's ACC pool and Kaspa pool are working on, are utilizing, have been the ones that have been on the public GitHub for a long time. There was even one, a modified version of that by 1B Smith that you can utilize on your internal network and spin up your own node and test on, right? So I want to make sure that everybody's clear where the red flags are, and definitely pay attention to what RPM comes up with in the next few little bit. For sure. The other thing that's been happening right now, obviously that a lot of people want to talk about, I'll give a shout out to Serpent. I wanted to talk about Dynex real quick, just let you guys know that there's a phishing scam going on in the Discord. My accounts all got banned from Discord when the hack took place for Dynex. Is this worrisome for the project itself? not necessarily, other than obviously the amount of hacks can cause the coin to dump just because the hacker is going to dump them onto the network. So does it mean that the project is doing something bad? No, not necessarily. I would, point to Kaspa Discord getting hacked. I would point to every single Discord is kind of getting hacked. You need to make sure you're getting your Discord security in line if you're one of these projects. It's kind of hilarious that, proper two-factor authentication isn't put into place. Vetting of your moderators isn't being done. It does reflect poorly on all of the projects that get hacked, because part of, their responsibility is to protect their users. And when they get hacked and there's these, basically these issues that go on, you end up, I think, just straight up losing trust in the public. I mean, that is happening obviously right now with the price of Dynex going down. Now, I did buy Dynex on this dip because it's at the end of the day, it's a Discord hack, right? So I'm just going to buy the dip. That's what I did. Don't do that. It's not financial advice or anything. I'm not a trader. It's not what I do. But make sure if you're there's a few things that can always protect you. One is if you can learn to utilize command line wallets, that can be helpful. Making sure that if you're utilizing a web wallet, though, or at least utilize a desktop app wallet. If you aren't and you're utilizing a web wallet, you're at the most risk. You click one of these fake airdrop links, which, by the way, if it's an airdrop link and you're in a proof of work cryptocurrency Discord, don't click it. Okay? Don't click it. We all know that Dynex was fair launch. Don't click it. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Okay? So just be extremely careful with all that. Now, I have a lot of questions surrounding Dynex and how it works and all of that. I already have scheduled an interview with the developer tomorrow, so I'll be getting some more answers on that. I'm hoping that doesn't get canceled due to the scrambling that's inevitably going to take place here now at this point. But that will get done. That will be posted on the channel. Tomorrow I have more developer interviews coming out as well. I forget which one's scheduled for tomorrow, but check at 10 a.m. We will have that. I've been doing a ton of developer interviews, so they're going to be released on Sundays from here on out for the foreseeable future. We're booked out for a few months. And then the other thing that we do have coming online that we will be discussing, I do have Shai coming on from Kaspa to specifically discuss not only the validity, of course, which is going to be a top one that's going to be talked about with the ICERIVER, but just the method in which Kaspa was developed, because the argument on the Kaspa side, obviously everyone knew that it was going to go ASICs. Now, ASICs this quickly, definitely not expected. So this is where I have some questions, right? The emissions calendar, the chromatic emissions means you're cutting down basically reward on almost a daily basis, it feels like, but very frequently, right? Not a daily basis, but very frequently. And then basically a majority of the rewards are all mined within the young life of the coin. And then after that is when they were expecting to be in the ASIC realm. And so that was part of the adjustment, from my understanding, for the move from, GPUs to FPGAs to ASICs. Secondary to that is that there's an argument that the amount of blocks per second means that you will still be profitable on lower end hardware due to the fact that there's so many blocks per second. Now, my question, of course, is, well, doesn't the Rust implementation impact that, or does it not? Because it's time-based, technically my understanding is it does not impact that. So it still would be based around that, basically 1 block per second realm? These are all questions I'm going to be asking Shai tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get a few more answers on that for you guys today. But these are the things that were blowing up. If you want to hear my opinion on Ironfish 2 here real quick, I do want to give my opinion on that real quick, because obviously it's been, I've been talking about it on Twitter. We did the test nets for it. I'm not mining Ironfish. I didn't mine Ironfish. As soon as I saw, here's why. Just from a zoomed out perspective, when I looked at Ironfish, what I saw was the fact that it had way more advertising and propaganda surrounding it than any other coin launch I've ever seen for proof of work, which meant that everybody that's in the know already knew about it. So the ability to actually mine that profitably seemed very low. The likelihood seemed extremely low. But some other things that have been coming to light, of course, are the participants within Ironfish. We are starting to see, of course, a big push from the BitBoy crypto crew and all of that. That brings some red flags up as an investor for me. I'm kind of like, okay, well, I'm not so sure where this is going. This seems like a very VC-backed, VC-funded type project, and that could be a good thing for price, right? Like Ethereum was one of those. But it also could be a major problem, especially when we looked at the coin distribution, which really is what started bringing up the red flags for me. The VC distribution, we talked about that and covered it on the channel. So yes, that's why you didn't see the how to mine Ironfish videos from me. I actually did have them prepped and then I pulled them. It wasn't something I was confident in first exacerbating the problem of the amount of hash rate, and then second, that it was actually going to be beneficial to anybody to release that right away when there was already a bunch of content covering it. I felt like just doing the normal review stuff was going to be better. I don't know where Ironfish goes from here. I think we'll see all of that kind of flush out. Could be very, very profitable, and then we'll see from there. Some oddities surrounding Blake 3 is also odd. Oddities are odd, but I'm finding it very odd that we're seeing manipulations of the protocol on the pool side by the mining software that doesn't apply to Alephium, which is another Blake 3 algorithm, right? Like the triple the hash rate that Rabid Mining talked about with SRB Miner on Hero Miners, that doesn't apply to Alephium, which is the same mining algorithm, right? So I have some questions surrounding that. Why is that not a thing? These are questions I have. I don't have the answers for them yet. I'll be trying to get them for you guys as far as that's concerned at some point. I don't know how much I want to dig into Ironfish. It seems like it's being covered quite heavily now. So these are kind of the other, well, there was one more thing. If you're going to launch a coin, I don't think that what Hero Miners did with offering the crazy incentives was a healthy move for the decentralization of the network. Look, I get it. Everybody's trying to do their best with the knowledge that they have, but I think definitely hindsight, you could look back and say, hey, maybe like offering $10,000 is terrible for the decentralization of the network, right? So maybe don't do that again. Let me get into some questions and answers. I definitely want to hear from you guys. Those are my warnings right now. I would be very careful. I'm not going to buy an ICERIVER. Okay. I'll put it that way. I am buying the Dynex dip from the Discord hack, and I'm not mining Ironfish. So not financial advice, but these are the things that I'm worried about, right? When I look at the market. Thanks for being here once again, Red Panda. If nobody is subscribed, I'm sure all of you all are subscribed to him. Make sure you go subscribe to him so we get more information on that in the future. We'll tag at Son of a Tech for any questions. I'm just going to do maybe 10 minutes of questions, and I'm going to get back to chilling with my kids, and I'm taking the rest of the weekend off. For sure. Yes, Jason, I already gave the thoughts on the ICERIVER. Keith says that son of a tech. What you can say? What can you say for the paprika? I pulled some of it up. The paprika, right? I think it's on hashrate.no. Um, I did not look into it, to be completely honest with you. I do have my 5700s rotating different, you know, basically different Capal coins because they're very efficient and it's cold outside right now and they seem to work pretty damn well. As far as that's concerned, and I'm just running them through Zergpool. I think the most profitable recently was like Chlor on that. And then I think for a little while they were doing Meow Coin. I think Papri though is currently at the top because it is another, and I haven't added it into the cycle, right? The Chlor through Zergpool with Bitcoin payouts has been proving to be pretty profitable. Good to see you here, Crypto Mikkel. Serpent, good to see you here. Great one says, as of a tech, do you think an interview on ALF may be possible? They're also looking into DAG versus blockchain. That's already been done, sir. I will link you that, but yeah, that's already been done right here. I already did that like 2 months ago, bro. Gotcha, dude. I got your back, my man. NerdB says, that's some tech with so much of the KAS already going out. What are your thoughts on the optical miners that are supposed to come in the future? Optical miners propose a technical limitation that I think has to be solved before it's going to be relevant, meaning that optical proof of work, like the mining with lasers, basically, like that's not something that is heavily being researched and developed right now, because my understanding is that is all of but like 2 projects. Optical Bitcoin, OBTC, which is the original heavy version of heavy hash, the mining algorithm that Kaspa uses. K took heavy hash and turned it into K heavy hash, right? So you basically have two projects. There was funding initially. See, and this is probably a good question for the Kaspa development team. Remember, because what Kaspa did is Kaspa had a separate, they owned a company, basically. That company was working on miners for Kaspa. I don't know if that company was for optical miners specifically. I would assume maybe that's probably where they were headed, but that's defunct now, right? So I don't know if like, and obviously more research needs to get done. There'll probably be somebody in chat that like pops off and tells me, oh, they're working on it right now, here, here, and here. I haven't seen anybody like working on it heavily. Production's going to be very low. I don't see optical proof of work being a threat anytime soon. Serpent says, will you be listening to or joining the Kaspa Ghost Dag meeting April 26th at 4 p.m.? Probably not. Because that is a weekday, my friend. Is that not? Yeah, that's a weekday. I'll be working the day job, my man. So no. That would be like smack dab in the middle. Lil Jim says, at Summit, why is nobody talking about Flux? I think because, I mean, if you want the true, honest answer, I think it's because Flux from a Flux, from an advertising standpoint, kind of shot their wad super early and made a bunch of promises that are taking a long time to implement. And so people get bored, right? It's nothing against Flux. Like, these are things that would take a long time to develop. I just think, like, the marketing strategy was too soon. I think they should have held back and pulled back on that a little bit. By the way, great podcast with Daniel Keller coming out as well to the channel. I think that's next week. So I had him back on as well. Lazarus says, as son of a tech, basically it needs to be picked up by people like TSMC. Yes, optical proof of work would need to be picked up by a larger manufacturer. NerdB says, as son of a tech, there are a few companies with prototypes that are targeting optical miners for AI, or optical for AI, since they provide a lot of computational power. That would make sense. I don't know which ones they are though. So, and I read that just for the video later. I read that out of chat. I have no idea if it's true, and there were no references. So I don't know who these companies are or anything. Maybe they can tell us. Let's see. Edwin wants to ask about Ergo. I mean, I think asking about Ergo in this channel, most people know my thoughts and opinions surrounding it, I think, at this point. But from the behavior surrounding the clear failure to adhere, or not adhere, but to heed the warnings of people talking about the problem with the difficulty shift and moving into the complete blatant, in my opinion, theft, but let's call it repurposing of the Ethereum Classic Twitter into Ergo, and just changing the name and pretending like they have 600,000 followers, is manipulative to the investors. I definitely question the ethical decisions that the team makes and the way that they are. It's almost like, so I actually had this conversation. This is a philosophical conversation I had with someone. I said, and because there's always, like, people want to, like, I don't think anybody's evil. I don't think anybody's ever doing anything evil. Like, I don't think people set out with their lives of being evil. But I think what happens is people make mistakes and they don't want to admit their mistakes, and then they double down on them instead of admitting they make mistakes, and then they just become evil, trying to cover up all the mistakes they've made. And so if I look at Ergo, it looks like that snowball effect to me, to where I just don't trust them. They try to cover up a bunch of their mistakes. It's turning into a snowball, and I don't trust the development team. Okay. That's why. Now, does that mean I think that they went out and set out to do something evil? No, I just think that they started making mistakes and started trying to cover it up, and now they've kind of just fallen into this bad path. Right? And we all do it. And the only way to, like, get out of that is a really hard process of admitting that you've done stuff wrong. And believe me, I know that that's a hard process, because that has been a majority of my 30s, is going back through my 20s and being like, I was wrong there, I was wrong there, I was wrong there. Let me apologize to that person, apologize to that person. Let me correct this problem over here. And look, some people will never get to that point. It just is. You can't, I can't even necessarily say that you should, like, get mad at them for it. Like, that's just humanity in and of itself, right? We all make mistakes, and we're all ashamed of our mistakes. You can't expect somebody to, like, go beyond that. I just don't think that how do I put it? I wouldn't put my eggs in the basket with the person who is dishonest, right? You know what I mean? I just wouldn't. I am mining Ergo right now, though, on the A750s because they're good at mining it. And I still have a bunch of leftover stuff in Padilla that I haven't pulled out. So there you go. Give my opinion on Radiant. I haven't had an interview with anybody from Radiant, and I don't have any how would I put it? I don't feel that I have enough knowledge surrounding Radiant. I think I have a better grasp of maybe Nexa, for example, Alephium. It's very difficult to keep up with each individual project and then also understand the different things from a tech perspective that they are or are not trying to do. And as such, when I do not have a solid understanding, I try to be very moot on the point, right? For example, I think like I thought Nexa was ProgPal, but it's not ProgPal. Nexa Proof of Work's definitely something different. Now, Nexa is going to go ASICs, by the way, here in the near future. They're going to be going to that another mining algorithm. The Kurdish LOTR says with a $2 or €2, thank you. Is that real money? Nothing's real money except Bitcoin. ASIC's effect on KAS long term if the rumor is legit. Well, I think we're already seeing the effect of a higher hash rate on Kaspa. And I do think that like it's handling it quite well. The only thing that the thing is like ASICs and more efficient mining hardware has to come about for Kaspa actually very quickly because of how quick their emissions phase is. So it is a weird, it is a very, not weird, it's a very unique project in that manner from that perspective. And I'll be getting more information as I can. Like I said, we have another interview coming out with Shy soon. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you go check out Red Panda Mining and go to his channel and follow along. Red Panda, I would be curious as to why. I still don't understand why, if it's Stratum plus TCP, why you can't mine to your own node. I don't know why when changing the pools it breaks it and then they have to come in and manually change it. Things like this don't really make much sense because at the end of the day, if you have a miner and you point it to a URL, it should just point to the URL and grab the work. If it doesn't do that and it bricks it, or basically what it sounds like is if you change the pool, they shut it off on you. And that's very weird. Yeah, I wouldn't buy one, but thanks everybody for watching. Hit the like, comment, subscribe down below. I hope to see you guys next Tuesday. New interview tomorrow. It'll be a surprise interview because I don't remember what it is. I'll see you guys later. Thanks to RPM for doing all the work. Thanks to Serpent for calling out the Dynex issues. And well, Ironfish I've been looking at all week, so I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that from anybody, I guess, but there you go. Peace.